Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of George's Corner. I'm your host, George Lee Jones. I wanted to talk to you today about the word fear. Now, I know a lot of people say it's an acronym for false evidence appearing real. But what I discovered with fear is that fear can actually be a physically crippling situation. Like you're afraid that you're not going to perform well in that recital. You're afraid that you're not going to get that job. You're afraid people are not going to accept you for who you are. Those are all external factors that have nothing to do with you. What you have to do is put forth your best foot each and every day. Every time you wake up in the morning, every time you get out of bed and you go and do something. The thing I discovered for myself was I didn't think I really had any fears. And because someone asked me, they said, George, well, are you afraid of anything? And I said, well, I'm not afraid of any man, not afraid of any circumstances or events. I said, but the only thing that I'm afraid of is God, and God's not human, so I guess that doesn't count. But then what I realized is something that was subconscious to even myself until recently is I have a fear of lack, which means a fear of not having the necessities that I need to carry out my financial responsibilities, or better words, being a good steward over the things that I have. And I realized that that could be the very weapon used against me unbeknownst. Because when you express a fear, it will eventually show itself to you. And so what I discovered for myself was rather than living with that fear, to understand it for what it is. Now, here's the thing. We all go through problems and situations and circumstances in our lives that are unforeseen. They just sneak up on us, catch us at the most inopportune moment. And I was talking with someone today about that because my day started off not really great. And guess I was having a little beat me up session, in my own mind. And what I realized is that I was trying to work through a few of the obstacles that are in my way that are going on in my life right now. I thought about it for a moment and realized it's like the weather. Yeah, it's like the weather. If I walk away from it, it's going to change, particularly how I think about the situation. So as I'm sitting there, again, being my own cheerleader, trying to coach myself, trying to bring myself up from the little bit of a funk that I was in earlier today, I walked away from my situation. I took a walk, got a deep breath, looked around the area, and then picked up my phone and decided to call someone else and say, hey, how's your day? And involve myself in their life and find out what's going on in that individual's life. And after that conversation, it made me look at my own situation, not that I was comparing the two, because that's not what I would tell you to ever do, but because I had that break in time away from that problem that I had, when I went back to it and looked at it again, it wasn't as bad as I thought. And my perception, which is my reality, allowed me to look at it from a different perspective. And while looking at it from a different perspective, I came up with a few solutions, not just one, but a few solutions to that problem. And I'm not out of the woods yet with it, but I'm hoping that what I'm telling you is that whenever you have a problem that you're facing, which will manifest itself in fear, step away from it for a moment. Even have a conversation with someone else about what's going on in their lives. Because I guarantee you, when you come back to whatever it was that you thought that you were dealing with, I guarantee you're going to look at it from a whole different perspective. And that's what I call the break in the fear. You break up the fear by walking away from it. Coming back to it with a reassessed, reevaluated mindset, and then you can figure it out piece by piece. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to work through all fears that way, but that was something that was very powerful for me today to understand and realize. And some of my fear, I realized, was there were components to that. And a couple of the components to that is another word I'm going to use for you, is opportunity. I've said this to a lot of people before, but not really telling it to myself. And what I mean by opportunity, I don't mean something coming along that's a great event that's going to happen for you. What I mean is opportunity or opportunities are people in your life. So if you know a lot of people, you have a lot of opportunities. If you know a few people, it limits your opportunities. So with that, get out in the world, meet new people, make new friends, new acquaintances, new associations. Because the more people you know, the more opportunities you have in your life, and the more things you can go into in your toolbox when you find yourself at a crossroads or at a dilemma. Because we're all going to get there, one way or another. In this journey of life, sometimes you're going to have smooth pavement, sometimes you're going to have rocky roads, and sometimes you're going to have boulders that you have to come across. But each and every one of us is going to have a different take on our journey. But don't have a lot else to say about that. That was just something that came to me today in regards to fear, and that fear can be very physically crippling. So figure out and work your way through your fears. Reassess it. If it's something that you're stressing about, you can't seem to figure out, table it for that moment. Go do something else. Let the sun kiss your face, throw some water on your face. Have a conversation with someone else that's going to take you away from that present situation. Now, by all means, don't go out and do anything detrimental to yourself, like having that drink, because you don't need it. If you want it because it's something you desire, that's a different thing. But it's a pet peeve of mine when I hear people say, man, I had a long week, I needed that drink. If you need that drink, there's a problem. There's an issue there. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm sure at some point at a later date we'll have that conversation. Nevertheless, I'm going to finish this with be good to yourselves, be kind to others, be a better you each and every day, and try and learn something new all the time. God bless you. Take care. I'm George. This is George's Corner. Take care.